And hello everybody, NikoTheLegend here to give you another Mass Effect news roundup. And well, I guess you can consider that this is not so much Mass Effect and so much a different game entirely from the Bioware franchise, but it definitely leads to the process of elimination. But before I get into that, I just want to say thank you guys for everything you've done so far to help support the channel, and I hope to, keep doing what I do best, which is providing you with entertainment of any kind, any way. And if you haven't seen the 100 subscribers drum session Twitch live stream that I did a few days ago, it's me playing a drum solo, or not drum solo, just a drum session, 30 minutes long, just to celebrate the 100 subscribers, because I respect everything you guys have done, and I really love it. Thank you so much. So it's on the channel if you want to check that out, and check out my other 100 subscribers special videos, with some Let's Plays and a thank you video. But anyway, let's get to the topic. So BioWare has made a couple statements, thanks to Mike Laidlaw. Not discussing Mass Effect. No. Discussing their other forgotten franchise. Yes, not Jade Empire. I'm talking about Dragon Age, another two-word game. Now that I think about it, a lot of their games have two words only. Jade Empire, Mass Effect, Dragon Age. Anyway, so they are doing it. They are making statements, completely still ignoring everything about Mass Effect, not giving us any closure, kind of indirectly telling us that, hey, we're not worried about Mass Effect right now. We're worried about this franchise called Dragon Age. The franchise where everyone loved the first one, but then they were like, hey, the combat in Dragon Age 1 was a little slow. So they're like, okay, let's make the second one have better combat and stick you in one town. And then it took only 2 years to make. By the way, Dragon Age Origins took 5 years. And they're like, okay, we didn't get it right the second time. Third time's a charm with Dragon Age Inquisition. God, I was about to say all the different things that people had a problem with. I'll let you know. I didn't have a problem with the story. Story was good. But what I did have a problem with wasn't the combat like some people had. It was the fact that exploration and how long it took to get from place to place, like the big land masses. Granted, not every place was huge, but it was very empty and dull and not very inspiring. There wasn't enough real-time events to keep you going. It was very, very staged and very railroaded. Unlike Skyrim, which has random dragons, random bandit encounters, and it was all real-time, people hunting you down. And Andromeda did a little better. Still staged, but it had more danger and more events happening that made it seem played a very good illusion to make you feel like you were actually on the planet feeling in danger, despite the lack of depth it had compared to like seeing what Anthem has with their hostile world, with all that crazy jungle stuff and all this. I mean, obviously it was a presentation, so it was staged. So we got 3 games from BioWare with Dragon Age, and it seems like they haven't been getting their stride in completely. Like there's always a problem that somebody has, like a big problem that people have. And now, since we haven't heard the last thing we heard about it is that, yeah, EA or BioWare is still going to do Dragon Age 4, like they want to do that. But that was the only statement they made. There wasn't really anything afterwards because Andromeda came out, and look how that turned out. Yeah, pretty interesting, right? Now their focus is saying, well, I'm just going to read you a couple quotes. Mike Laidlaw, you can look at this in a series post on Twitter's, and basically just says BioWare still has plans for another 2 Dragon Age games, and that there is no planned ending for the series. Oh, really funny, interesting that you can say that Dragon Age 2 could have been the the game that put Dragon Age on ice. Now, if they did, I don't remember ever hearing about it. I just remember everyone hearing how much they hated how you were only in Kirkwall for so long. But it's funny is that they wanted just to go into make Dragon Age Inquisition, which took a while, granted, right? Because kind of pulls like the whole Bethesda thing. Like first they work on Fallout, and then the next Fallout game doesn't come out for like another 4 years or 3, whatever you want to, how long, because another Elder Scrolls game comes out. And then, Skyrim, Fallout 4, and then eventually the next Elder Scrolls game. Kind of like that. So they take turns switching with the games. So But there was no ice for Dragon Age 2 or anything leading up to Dragon Age 3. They were just gung-ho about it. They felt confident. But, oh man, when Dragon Age, well, not Dragon Age, when Mass Effect Andromeda does bad due to poor sales and how the internet was just destroying the franchise and fans, so-called fans, you know, I get some comments saying that fans ruin the game. I can agree partially to that. Partially. Because, yeah, you're on social media and all these big-time YouTubers or trolls are just going to post everything bad about it and try to ruin it for you. So that is a very likely scenario to not give a shit about Mass Effect Andromeda completely and just consider it a bad game, despite all the big reviews. But you can say that they were overdone, like over-exaggerating, but the problems were there. They're just blown out of proportion because that's just what, you know, the media does. They just blow things out of proportion and try to convey a message to you without even giving you actual facts of why it's this bad. You know, you have to, you know, find the right, do the right research and play the, you know, do it yourself almost, kind of like a hands-on approach. And yeah, all the stuff that people were complaining about, I agree to an extent. Yeah, the facial animation is terrible. The graphics were The gameplay was okay for the most part. The story, and then a lot of controversial stuff with, you know, the whole feminism or the SJW type stuff. You guys know what I'm talking about. And then a big, you know, a bunch of novice animators, a bunch of newbies working on a big time game, and the game was pushed out before release. And then a big white racist, or a big Indian guy who is racist against white people. It was posted all over his Twitter, but he doesn't work in the company anymore. And then, you know, it just spirals from there, and it just puts a sour taste in the game. Like, the game doesn't deserve to have a sour taste. You shouldn't be mad at the game. You need to be mad at the company and their decisions that made the game. Those are the people you should be mad about. You should be mad at BioWare, you should be mad at EA, because EA is obviously the head honcho, you know. A game that took 5 years of development, completely hell, took them a year and a half to actually get something formulated and everything, you know, a script, a writer, animate, you know, all this stuff. You know, unlimited procedural worlds, down to 30, down to 7. So what does that tell you, right? You know, it's like almost like a Fable thing. It's like you promise these many things, and then you only get this. Except they weren't talking that much crap compared to Peter Molyneux. So I'm sorry if I compared it to the Fable franchise, because, you know, the Fable franchise is a love-hate thing, but that's another topic for another time. Probably we'll never talk about. Just an interesting comparison. So now this BioWare's Mike Laidlaw, here comes a quote saying, "There is no planned ending for DA, Dragon Age." He told one follower, "There is an evolving plan that tends to look 2 games ahead or so." 2 games. 2 games. Here's another quote. "Thus, I could tell you what could be in a theoretical Game 5 if there was a theoretical Game 4 happening." And, you know, it goes on with the article saying that, you know, it's unwise to stick to a rigid plan. You kind of just wing it and just go with your, I don't know, gut instinct. And then another quote, he continued, "But I strongly believe that if you try to hold a rigid plan that is a decade old by the time you reach the end, you're wasting ops." Oh yeah? Wasting ops? Is that what you call Mass Effect Andromeda? Wasting ops? What, did you guys have a plan for that, for its 5-year development cycle? Were you planning on putting all your resources into Anthem from the beginning? You know, it's seriously a strategy to help you focus on something else, like completely ignoring the problem with Mass Effect. And you can look up Mass Effect, like how I do. I look up Mass Effect news almost every day just to try to find something that hasn't been said before, like once or twice. But every article you read says DLC unlikely, even more unlikely, even more. It's the article writers are saying the same bullshit, you know, or the same shit every time. And I'm like, yeah, we get it. Stop writing these same repetitive articles, right? And of course, I can fall into the same boat as that. I have some videos that kind of state the same thing. But I'm just reminding people that haven't seen the other videos, you know, because not everybody's gonna watch the old stuff, you know. It's just a reminder. But these are people that are just using easy things to talk about, and then they just automatically go into this completely different approach to an article. It's like the hook is DLC is unlikely, or nothing on DLC. But this guy said about Dragon Age or something, right? So, like, what are we supposed to do with that? Like I said, process of elimination. That's not fair. That's the route we have to take. Like, obligated to do. Why don't we still have something talking about Mass Effect? Why isn't there anything? You mean you're gonna post a damn article talking about numbers and Mass Effect's been a significant contributor? Oh yeah? Is that from the benefactor that you didn't provide any closure for in your fucking game? I'm not trying to be funny here, but that's what it's like. It's like they use their real life politics and their video game politics. No closure. No closure in Mass Effect's future, you know, on ice thing. They don't know what they're doing. And then there's no closure in Mass Effect Andromeda as the game itself. So what does that tell you about a company, right? Like, oh, now we're a part of Motive Studios. Let's work on this Star Wars game. Let's work on 2 Dragon Age games. Let's work on this. Anthem. Oh my god. Oh, Casey Hudson came back. Okay, great. I hope he provides good counsel. It's like Yoda left the building of the Jedi Council and left Anakin in command. And then he's like, oh fuck, I gotta leave Dagobah and come back. This is just saying if Anakin never became Dark Jedi. Anyway, it comes back, alright, what the hell has been going on? It's like, what? What? Do or do not? There is no try? Like, I really hope he, after Anthem, like, I'm pretty sure he's going to be mainly working on Anthem, but it would amaze me to see that he is the one to change EA's mind or put his own 2 cents in convincing the company, and like, we can't give up on Mass Effect. We built so much with this franchise. We built another Star Wars. Dragon Age didn't do that. I mean, you could say it built its own Game of Thrones, but, you know, Game of Thrones came out after Dragon Age. So you can compare Game of Thrones to Dragon Age, not Dragon Age to Game of Thrones, you know, due to chronological order. But still, it's pretty gruesome in both forms of entertainment. But I rarely see anybody talking about Dragon Age or anything. But, you know, I'm not looking for things about Dragon Age, right? We're looking about things about Mass Effect Andromeda, or just Mass Effect in general. And we're not getting anything. So, me talking about this right now isn't getting us anywhere. It's just pissing us all off, reading about a guy posting stuff about Dragon Age in 2 games. There was another guy, sorry, my nose itches. There was another guy, an article before saying, I can't remember what his name was, but it's like, we can't discuss anything about Mass Effect. You know, we're not ready to discuss that yet. Because you don't have anything. You're not doing anything about it. Or else there would have been something by now. Like, they're so fucking ashamed of what they've done to the game that they can't just outright come out, which they should have done at E3, and actually fucking man up and apologize to us for their pathetic performance of a game. Now, granted, I like the game for the most part. You know, it had some a lot of good aspects to it, but how much hype it got definitely didn't live up to the expectation. And who do you blame that for? EA's marketing strategy. You know, they pulled a Destiny, they pulled a No Man's Sky, basically. So that's what we get. But guess what? No Man's Sky is doing. Despite that guy, the guy of Hello Games, being a complete fucking liar, they're releasing DLC for it and stuff to make it more whole of a game. They're not just tweaking things and making animations better. They're actually adding story. This latest update coming out for No Man's Sky adds story, more building, you know, more of a lore to it. And I know that Mass Effect Andromeda has a lot of lore and dialogue and, you know, script recorded. But what does that do when it's a poorly written script? You know what I'm saying? Like, Star Wars has so much lore in it, but look at the fucking prequels and that script writing. Look what George Lucas did. It made it fucking put a stale taste in our mouth, and we'll always troll the prequels no matter what, despite it having a few interesting things, right? But majority of it was just cringeworthy. And this is what we're getting now. Every time we see something that isn't talking about the future, the direct, like a direct statement of Mass Effect, we just get so pissed off. We get passionate. We start ridiculing other people. Start saying people are doing clickbait videos, which I apologize if I made a video like that before. You know, wasn't trying to do that. Trust me. And I'm not getting paid for it. No, that's no laughing matter. I'm not getting paid for it because I wouldn't do that to you guys. But that's besides the point. But this is what happens when this indirect media quote, whatever you want to call it, people speaking for EA, just filling in this what kind of filler you want to call it. It's just it's just excuses, indirect excuses, and we don't deserve that. We definitely don't deserve that, considering how many hours and how much time we spent. That's not the way. That is not the philosophy of being a good developer, a game developer. And you own up to it. You fucking own up to it. It's like, you know, fucking A, all that cash grab, all that goddamn cash grab. Titanfall 1, Battlefront 1. And, you know, Destiny. It's so bad. This is so bad. Well, I mean, there you go. There you go. The focus is Dragon Age. That we're assuming, considering from this guy. Great. Well, guys, that has been all for this Mass Effect, Dragon Age Roundup video. I'm sorry that it was bad news. Like always, I mean, that's all we're going to be getting for the most part. I want to hear what you guys think about it and what you think, like, you know, are you guys even excited about another Dragon Age game? Because the thing is that when we were done with the Mass Effect game, let's just say, we beat the game, we're ready for the next Mass Effect game. Dragon Age was that filler from BioWare, you know. They're like, okay, I'm going to play this until the next Mass Effect comes out. Good. Like, that was our thing. You know, or it could have been the other way around. I'm going to play Dragon Age 1 until the Mass Effect until the next Dragon Age comes out. You know, depending on how you look at it. But what filler do we have now? Right? Got nothing. Got literally nothing. So, yeah, are you excited for another Dragon Age game? I mean, Dragon Age games have been getting some horrible reception for the past two installments. So, I can only imagine what it's going to be like now. And is Dragon Age going to fall under the same fucking curse that Mass Effect Andromeda is under? I mean, there were some pretty controversial things in Inquisition. You can look it up completely. You can look it up on YouTube. You'll find stuff all about it. And, you know, pick your battles wisely. You know, pick the honest folk. And, yeah. I mean, I hope not. Because I love medieval fantasy. I really do. I love that so much. I mean, that's what my main book is about, is medieval fantasy. It's not sci-fi. Because there's just so many, sci-fi is just like too easy now to do, right? There's just been so many sci-fi franchises that have been good and bad. But the thing is, sci-fi is really hard to entertain people. It really is. Look at the original Star Trek series. That didn't make shit. They ended like after, what, 3 seasons? And then look at the Next Generation. Season 1 didn't do that well at all. And then they had to completely like redo everything in the next seasons. And I love Next Generation. Big time. I mean, Battlestar Galactica, or look at Andromeda show with Kevin Sorbo. That probably didn't do that great either. So, and fucking Transformers. Oh God, can we even consider that real sci-fi? I don't know. Aliens are in it. So thanks again, guys. Appreciate it. Appreciate your time. Like, comment, subscribe, and I hope to see you in the Andromeda Galaxy. Or if you want to be cryostasis next to me, that'd be great. We all need a cryostasis, buddy. When we wake up and we take that first breath of fresh air with good facial animation. And we're like, we made it.